My client wants a medium length Johnny Depp style haircut. I'm going to talk you through an easy to follow method on how to do that. I'm going to use a few different techniques and skills and teach you how to do them. There's also a little bit of razor work in this for anyone who'd like to know more about that, and many other things. I use a lot of water when I'm scissor cutting to control the hair. His hair is so thick that I also need to use these barber grippers just to keep it out of place. Now that it's in position and I've got that hair out of the way, I can take vertical downward sections and begin cutting. Working from the front to the back, all of the sections that I'm going to take are going to be roughly the width of the comb. That just means that I don't have too much hair to cut through at once with the scissors. It's a manageable amount. So just work your way back in all those sections like I showed you at the front. This first method is really a debulking method, so we're reducing the bulk, but it isn't a very refined method at the moment. This is just to get the hair down to a manageable level. Once you have all that down to a manageable level, you can go in with the scissors and take horizontal sections. Ideally, you want to be going in with the point of the scissor and sliding it into the hair, then placing the comb underneath and cutting. Now what I'm looking for here is to cut to the length that I cut my debulking sections. So when I was taking the bulk down, I was going for the length that I wanted. So every time I pick up hair now, I'm looking to just take it down to that length. As you get closer to the ear, you can go a little bit closer. I'd recommend that. I'll just trim this little area off here because it's part of the temple and it needs a little bit of separate attention. To cut around the ear, just put the back of the scissor against the skin and cut away from the ear. Now we can move along and do the same thing. So we have a new starting point and just go in with the scissor and start working your way down in sections down towards the ear. At the ear, just put the comb in and just try and flip that hair out. So comb in, flip it over and pull the hair out. Okay, and very simple. Let's just move now on to the next section. And again, you can see our starting point and we're just going in, taking sections from the top to the bottom. The reason that you work from the top to the bottom is because you don't want long hair lying on top of each section as you cut it. If you worked from the bottom up, you'd have all the hair that you haven't cut yet lying on top of whatever you pick up. So this method is best as a top-down method. As you move from one cutting area to the next, you'll notice that there's some short hair in the comb, and you can use that as a guide so you know how far to pull the comb out when you cut your next section. You can follow the whole way around the head like this, but we still need to debulk because the hair is too long to use this method all the way around. So if I pull that hair down from the top, I'm again just going to take these vertical sections from the top and work my way across. I do like cutting scissor over comb without tension, which was the method that I was showing you on the side when we were taking horizontal sections. But when the hair is too long, you can lift it up in the comb and it just bends. So it's best to take the bulk down first and down to a level roughly that you probably want the haircut to be anyway. When you're picking your sections up, you should be able to see some short hair in there from the previous section. That's your way of keeping yourself right. You know that you're roughly the same length as your previous section. You might notice that I cut past my first knuckle when I'm cutting hair. In this method, it doesn't really matter whether you cut past the first knuckle or not. A lot of barbers will only cut to the first knuckle because they can only get tension on the hair with those parts of the finger. Remember, this is a debulking process, so I will be refining the haircut further, and that perfect tension isn't so important with this technique. At the back again, you can just see that it's the exact same method. We're gonna have a starting point, move in, pick up our section, work down, and then take the next section. So it's a top-down method. Just keep working your way from the top to the bottom. I'm just stepping my way across from one section to the next. It's the exact same method. I'm working my way around and copying exactly what I just did. Remember, I'm looking for the short hair from my previous section and I can see the long hair, so I just cut to that. So carry on all the way around to the other side and just neaten up around your edges. Now here's a really cool tip for finding the exact parting in the hair. This is where you know that the hair should be parted. If you want to style it really well, you should go for the natural parting of the hair. So if you wet it all down and comb it all back and look at it, it'll start to fall in one particular place. That's the natural parting in the hair. Now, if you go for that, you'll see that you get a really clean parting. I mean, just take a look at how clean that is. It's perfect. It just fell like that. Now that it's in this perfect parting, I can start cutting the top using a compound over direction method. This is where you pull each section back to a reference section at the back of the head. And the reason that you do that is because you want it to get longer as you get towards the front. So if I pull this section out here, I just pull it straight out vertical and cut that. This is going to be my reference section. And each subsequent section I'm going to pull back to that point. You'll see here it gets more exaggerated as I get towards the front. So I've pulled it back a little bit and I'm just going to cut straight up the fingers. This section again, I'm pulling it back. It's going to get more exaggerated. So this is called compound over direction. It's a compound of two over directions. You're over directing the top down towards the side and you're pulling the side towards the back. So it's two over directions. It's quite a good technical term, that compound over direction. This method can actually be used in all sorts of creative barbering and hairdressing. It's a way of building up length towards any particular direction on the head. So I pulled that back, we've got very long towards the front. Sometimes you have to comb it quite a few times just to get a good grip and make sure you have a nice clean section. Pulling it right back. So it's coming from the front all the way back to my reference section and from the middle down as well. But what I've got is I've got this sort of like angle now coming down the side of the head. It's getting longer towards the side of the head. The hair from the top's reaching all the way down there, and that's perfect. But what I want to do is just to soften it a little bit, I'm going to take the very point off from the middle of the head. So if I lift these sections up here, just the very point of that section. I don't really want to take any length off the section, just that little point. And all that's going to do is just soften the edge. My client has really thick hair, so this could look very dense along that angle that I showed you where the hair falls. So I'm just going to straighten this up. There's always one or two hairs that stick out. We'll get that out of the way. I've got a nice shape there, happy with that. It's got that Johnny Depp kind of look. But I am now going to soften it a little bit further with my texturizing razor. So I'm just going to use the razor and just chip away a little bit. So I've put tension on it. It's important that you have wet hair when you're using your texturizing razor, otherwise it can drag on the hair. So I'm doing this just to texturize the ends. Remember, I think it could be very heavy around this area otherwise because of the density of the client's hair. So this just softens that final resting place of where the hair lies. You can also shave across the surface of your section like this. Just be careful if you're going to be doing anything like that. And another method is just to put the comb underneath the hair and slide the razor across and pull the comb out. That's probably my favorite razor technique. It's so easy to use. It texturizes the hair. It gives it direction. It will actually cause the hair to push in a direction. We've still got all the clipper work to do, so let's dry it off and then start on our clipper work. So just at the temple, I'm going to work my way all the way around, and I'm going to tease the hair up with the comb, and then do the same at the sides. And just try and neaten it up. I don't want artificial, really bold looking solid line at the front, because this is really a scissor cut and I don't want it to look too pristine. At the ear, just hold the ear down and tease that hair down, and then just cut away any hairs that are sticking out. Don't go any higher, don't go into the hairline, because otherwise you might end up with something that looks like a bit of an operation. At the back of the neck, just tease the hair up again, and then a straight line from the back of the ear down to the bottom of the nape. Don't go inside the hairline again. I'm only taking out the hair that's sticking out beyond the hairline. Don't forget to keep the cutting area clean. Here's me concentrating very hard on the other side, and now let's do the back. So at the back, I'm just using my comb, I'm pulling the hair down, so down to the hairline, the teeth are sitting on the hairline, and I'm just cutting off the hair that is in the comb at the hairline. So that's stopping me from taking too much away. I'm only just pulling it down and cutting away what is sticking out of the comb. Remember, I want this kind of natural. I don't want it to look like a solid line. This is a scissor cut. I'm going to soften this just by lifting up with the comb and doing a bit of clipper over comb just to make it a little bit softer. It's the little touches that count. Remember that. So once I've done all that, sometimes, especially with thick hair, I go back and I just refine everything anyway again. I just pick it all up, and these are always just like tiny little adjustments. I mean, his hair was really thick, so then I'm drying it off again. And this is the final cut. This is that Johnny Depp type style that the client wanted. I've kept lots of length at the front. It's flowing really nicely. Got some texture at the side from the razor. Tell me what you think. Was this tutorial useful? I'll leave links down below for my Instagram and my Udemy courses and everything that I've used today in this video. Don't forget to hit me with any questions. I'll be back soon again with another video. Thank you so much for watching.